They're all dead. Don't have to wait this time, 'cause I'm giving up on my sense of control.
Welcome back yet again. Due to some unfortunate tech issues due to the snowfall on the East Coast, just hammering our asses with snow this week, we attempted to record the In Your House, a cold day in hell retro review. It was laggy, it ended up being like 6 files and it just shit the bed, literally cut out halfway through. But we did manage to get this clip, which you're listening to today, a little bonus episode here, our thoughts on the boneheaded decision of WWE and NXT to change the name of Walter to Gunther. Here now is that clip. Had some breaking news yesterday. I was hopping on the Twitter machine on the timeline. I just saw that WWE randomly tried to file trademark for the name Gunther Stark, who, if you hop on your little Google machines there and you put it in, literally like the second result, Gunther Stark that the world knows was the commander for the Nazis. Matt.
Yes, a Nazi U-boat commander. I mean, it is the most Bruce Pritchard thing ever, but thankfully, and quite rightly, give WWE credit for quickly dropping and in the application for that trademark. But Walter is now Gunther, however you pronounce it, and it's split Twitter, Travis. It's literally split Twitter. Some people like it. Some people, quite rightly saying they'll stick by him, whatever. And some people like me absolutely hate it. But I have to say now, before people jump in the comments or come at us on Twitter, I don't hate it for the name Gunther. It's neither here or there. Gunther, Walter, both singular names. I hate it, and it's important to say, because I have seen a lot of reactions, saying, "Oh, how dare they name him after a nut, etc., etc." It's not the name for me. You could call him Bob or Steve or Kevin. It's not the name. It's the fact, and I put a tweet out yesterday actually saying this. It's the fact that they've felt the need to brand him after 3 years as NXT UK champion. After years and years of touring the world as a well-renowned name. People love Walter. They know who Walter is. The whole ring camp thing in Germany, and he's been everywhere. And yet they feel the need to brand him. We don't know why, but I'm assuming it's because they want to own his name, and
right.
He wouldn't give them, the rights to Walter. Yeah, and quite rightly. Why would he give them the rights to Walter after all this time?
See, and that's where, when this kind of shit happens, and we've seen it time and time again, I always kind of try to play devil's advocate, because literally that's the only thing they've changed about him. The presentation, everything about him's still the same, Imperium. It's literally just was his name. So maybe it'll come out in the news that, Walter is all about it, like he wants to use the name Walter if he ever leaves, which he probably will, let's be honest. It's just the laziness. This is a multi-million-dollar company. I gotta walk a fine line with this. We've seen Nazi gimmicks before in wrestling. We've seen, Fritz von Erich and all that stuff. I don't know if I was offended by that or just the fact of how lazy it was. I mean, if the average Joe like me could go on Twitter and find out who Gunther Stark is in 2 seconds, who is in history books taught in schools, it's just wow. It's just what are these knuckleheads doing in this company anymore? Have we literally just made so much money where we're just throwing our hands up in the air and going, well, boy, it doesn't matter anymore, because that's what it feels like. That's sure the fuck what NXT feels like now, Matt. Is just, whoa, boy, who cares? We got our money.
Absolutely. I said this before we came on air. NXT feels like SmackDown 2004, just generic nobodies who you're not going to remember in 5 years' time. But, like I said, it is important that they are given some credit for, noticing the backlash and noticing, the connotations that come with the name Gunther Stark. But at the same time, it's like, you should have probably just put the name into Google before you even attempt to trademark.
I also wonder if they did. Like, if they did, and Pritchard and whoever the fuck's in there with them is just like, ooh, let's get some water cooler talk going. This could be some good heat. It's not 1985 anymore. These are different people. Society is totally flipped. Everybody is so sensitive and offended about everything. You can't sneeze in public. Literally, can't sneeze in public, and people get offended. That's the state of the world. Should have been smarter. I have no sympathy for WWE in this. I think one of my before we move on to our retro review, one of my favorite things since doing this show with you in the past 4 or 5 years has seen your growth, and it's like a beautiful coming of age story. When you were first, I was the one that first introduced you to who Walter was when he was in WXW, and like a random DM, like, keep your eye on this guy, he's great. Yeah. And you weren't. Let's be honest, you weren't sold, and especially when he was anointed the one to dethrone Pete Dunne, we were salty, you especially. But the fact that Walter is that good, to just see him completely turn you over the years, and I would say you're just as big a Walter fan as a Pete Dunne. I'd put him on, you were probably the same level of respect with both those guys, right?
I would say so right now. I mean, if you went back to, April 2019, then I was calling him all the cunts under the sun. I was saying his title reign wouldn't work, and I was wrong. You know, I'm no problem putting my hands up and saying I was absolutely wrong. He was a fantastic champion. He was, you know, a great head of NXT UK, a great face for the brand. And I'm not going to say I worry for him. His talent will shine through, and obviously if he's not happy, he'll move on. And I don't know whether I respect him for going along with what WWE want, but I do respect the fact that he's took steps to protect his name and the legacy of Walter. So, you know, whatever happens from now on, you know, it'll be as Gunther. If Gunther doesn't work out, then Walter won't be affected. I respect that, but I don't know anymore, Travis. But you're right in what you say. You know, Walter turned me. That sounds wrong. Walter changed my mind, and yeah, he's just a fantastic wrestler.
And that's maybe in total over the years, 5 minutes in total of him on a mic. That just speaks to his in-ring, is how good he is that turned you, just based on work rate alone. Yeah. For me personally, and come at me in the comments, I don't care anymore. This company has been, especially last year, it's to the point where I don't want people to make it on the. I don't want people to make them money anymore. Does that make sense? I don't want this company to thrive. I think it's time for the fat cat to starve a little bit. And I think that's one good thing about the oversaturation of pro wrestling in 2022 with so many companies is I say that without feeling guilty because these guys will land on their feet. They're that talented. There's a place for them, and they'll still make good money. If not, sometimes these guys make more money on the indies. It's time. It is time this year. But this fucking company has never been more greedy, never been more laxed. The keyword lax, just negligent. Yeah. It's pathetic. And to what we're reviewing today, the fact that this is the same company this time in 1997 and going into the summer blows my mind. And I cannot wait to talk about this retro review. For the most part, I didn't hate the show. I just love this time in wrestling, so that probably padded my judgment of it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, no, I totally get it. I do totally get it. It's got to the point now where I think WWE are. I don't know whether they're greedy because they want AEW to starve, but obviously I think, and I don't often say this, would Walter have been a better fit for AEW? Probably than NXT, but it is what it is. But you're right, they're greedy, and yeah, there's several names we could reel off now that we don't want to see make it on the main roster for one reason or the other. Not because we hate the wrestlers, but
yeah,
why should WWE get fatter on talent that they're probably just going to waste?
I love the fact that Dwayne was too busy to show up at Survivor Series. Good. Fuck them. Why are we wasting goddamn half the Survivor Series on Dwayne Johnson when you got guys like Damian Priest, Matt Riddle, just waiting to fucking break out? Invest in your future. It's biting you in the ass because you haven't for the past 6 years. That's why I'm watching Brock Lesnar in the world title program. Still. Oh, that's enough. That's enough. Ugh. God, I hate modern wrestling. I really do. I truly do. I try my best to see the bright sides. And my problem with AEW is it's not a balanced enough show. Half of it is indie-rific guys not ready for prime time. The other half is really polished and really good. I've loved the Danielson and Adam Page matches. I I just gotta. I'm trying to find my little nook and cranny to slide into in modern wrestling, but it's fucking hard. Fucking hard. And that's why if NXT UK goes away this year, it's gonna be even harder.
I'm not even thinking about that right now, but I will agree with you. Like, I never thought when I was 10, 15 years old that I'd grow to hate professional wrestling. But, the modern product, and I'm not just WWE, AEW as well, and several other, companies out there with the things they do and say, they make me regret being a fan of wrestling. Most days, I'd say now.
I want to make it fully aware to people, too. I'm 100%, I know that I'm jaded. I know that I was spoiled, and Matt was spoiled in the eras we came up in. I know that I have high expectations for my wrestling. But goddamn, it's... I don't know. Man, the morale this week is amazing, isn't it? That's what happens when you fuck up Walter, I guess.
Jesus Christ, if this wasn't an In Your House episode, I think we'd be entitling it on all the podcast platforms as We Hate Wrestling. This week's podcast. The 10 reasons we hate professional wrestling in 2022.
Well, we're not Cultaholic. I'm sure they have a countdown like that somewhere, for Christ's sake.